You know, I don't really know how I want to start this video. Whenever I have to talk about tariffs, it's not really a fun time, as you can imagine. It's almost like a profanity saying that word. I'd rather just not, if possible, though I guess I do have a bit of a sailor mouth sometimes. But regardless, today we are going to be talking about the tariffs and the de minimis. I'm not super interested in just like informing you on what's going on, though I will do that. But really why I want to film this video is just because of the response to the latest updates, not only from the community in the anime figure scene, but also myself, because I've definitely been going through it. And it's just been a little difficult in terms of like wanting to continue filming videos for like this hobby. You might have noticed I haven't been keeping up with the weekly pre-order roundups, which is for a few reasons, but this is definitely part of it. And I guess I'll just address that today. Now, if we go back a couple months when the tariffs and the de minimis issue was starting to arise, when they took that away from China and they were placing tariffs everywhere, a lot of people were wondering how this was going to play out. And it turns out if you were using the United States Postal Service, you actually wouldn't be tariffed at all. It was just this crazy loophole. We found this exploit and everybody was using it, guaranteed, because why wouldn't you? If you were using a private courier like UPS or DHL or FedEx, you would pay extra fees, not only the tariffs themselves, the percentage for that country, but also like the convenience fee for the company to collect, which is absolute bullshit in my opinion, but that's a different story. But yeah, if you just used EMS or airmail from Japan, for instance, as you know, that gets delivered with the United States Postal Service, you wouldn't have to worry about anything. All those tariffs basically meant nothing. We were living the easy life. Ooh, it was so good. It was fun. We got to continue to collect. It was great. Confusing, but great. I received like 6 packages during this time, mostly from Ami Ami and Good Smile Company, and the latter is pretty important because they do label the country of origin correctly, typically as China, though sometimes they do make their products in Japan. I believe there's another country too, but that doesn't matter right now. But yeah, they were writing down China, and it didn't matter. They would deliver the package and I wouldn't be bothered for it. So I was able to continue to collect and I didn't have to pay anything extra. But if there's one thing to keep in mind if you're living here in America, is that you shouldn't get too comfortable. The world is changing rapidly. So a couple of weeks ago, this massive bill was passed, and tucked away deep in that bill was a statement saying that in 2027, the de minimis was going away for every single country, instead of just China. Which sucks, right? 2 years, which gives us some time to prepare, buy the stuff we really want without having to deal with any tariffs and whatever. But, you know, it was impending doom. That was approaching. But wouldn't you know it, we got another update in terms of the de minimis just like a week or two later, stating that instead of in 2027, the de minimis was going to be taken away from every country on August 29th of this month. That is in 2 weeks, which is utter madness. Even outside of this hobby, that is ridiculous. That is such a short amount of time for people to prepare for this. And I think it's just because they want you to support the local industry, the homegrown companies and the factories here, which I understand. But let's be real, do you see a company like Good Smile or Alter or Max Factory or Q's Q making an anime figure like manufacturing plant here in the States? That's just not gonna happen. This is not something anybody cares to do. And frankly, I just think this hobby is caught in the crossfire. I don't think the administration cares about this hobby either. But because these anime figures that we love to collect so much are in fact made overseas, they're just in the line of fire. Can't really do anything about it. Now, who's to say this will actually go into effect, right? Because if you're following any news in terms of politics, we've seen time and time again, these plans, these motions get pushed back as they're not really prepared for it. I've seen so many tariff delays, especially for China. It's just like 90 days over and over and over again. Who's to say that won't happen with this idea? I don't know. There's also the USPS exploit that we have that currently still works. It will go away soon, but maybe it won't. Maybe that will continue to work because they're expecting the United States Postal Service to collect money for millions of customers out of nowhere. I just don't understand how they're actually going to do that, considering there hasn't really been a program or system in place. I just don't see how that's possible right now. If there was, they probably would be collecting money right now as they promised, but I don't want to make any promises, right? I don't want to get your hopes up in case this does get put into motion in just a few weeks. Oh, and before I forget, let me actually talk about the specific tariffs that are going to be in place in just a few weeks, because that's pretty important for you guys to know. Now, I might get some of this wrong, because it was kind of complicated to understand in the beginning, but from my understanding, it's broken up into two categories, just depending on which service you're using to import your figures or goods or whatever. So you have the private couriers like DHL, FedEx, UPS, or the United States Postal Service. So if you use a private courier, it's gonna be pretty simple. It's just based off the tariffs from like where you're importing from. So Japan, I believe, would be 15% of like your package's worth. And I think they've also threatened to raise that to 30 recently, but I don't know if that went into effect either. So it might be 15. It might be 30. Regardless though, that is pretty easy to follow, though keep in mind there will be that collection fee on top of that. But yeah, the United States Postal Service, for the first 6 months, it's going to be like $80 to $200 per package. And that again depends on the tariff rate for that country. There's like brackets to it. I don't have that information in front of me. But yeah, that's fucking ridiculous. $80 is already extremely high, especially if you're buying something pretty cheap. $200, regardless of what you're buying, is just madness, is just ridiculous. I would never want to pay something like that. Like, who's even got the money to spend $200 extra on every single import you make? They definitely want you to support the local scene. And maybe that's good for like Big Bad Toy Store or Lunar Toy Store or wherever else you go, Kappa Hobby. Definitely the time to support them if like they're not going to push too much of the tariffs on you. And from my understanding, Big Bad Toy Store is not really doing that. I have seen a few examples from Big Bad Toy Store where they only ask like $3 to $5 extra, which, I mean, I would pay that if I don't have to worry about the hassle. But, you know, things can change. The rates can change. We don't know yet because, again, it's just the Wild West right now. Things are just rapidly evolving, and not really for the better. After those 6 months, though, it will go to like a similar system to the private couriers. I don't know why they have to delay it. It doesn't really make sense to me, but that's what's stated at this current time. So yeah, it's a pretty dreadful situation, unfortunately, and as you can imagine, the community here in America hasn't been taking this very well. It's a lot of gloom and doom posting. A lot of people are depressed about this because it really does feel like the hobby is just being ripped away from them. And isn't that such a shitty feeling? If I want to quit this hobby, I would like to do it in my own terms, when I'm ready to stop, when I don't want to collect anymore. But right now, it kind of just feels like I'm forced to. Otherwise, I have to spend way too much money that should be going towards like necessities, right? Like, this is a luxury hobby. If I need the money, this is what has to go. But I used to be able to balance things better, and now it's just not really going to be feasible if these exuberant fees are added on top of the already expensive figures and shipping prices. Hopefully this isn't a controversial take or anything, but I think a hobby is supposed to be fun, to bring you joy. That's the point. A little bit of escapism. But if it's just creating frustration and stress, why would you continue to do it? In fact, that kind of brings up another point I should highlight very quickly, and that's just the added frustration to buying and acquiring these figures in the first place. Even outside of how like potentially more expensive they are, you're just inherently going to be shopping around way more, not just to try and find the best price like normally, but trying to avoid the tariffs, like trying to figure out what store writes down what in terms of the country of origin. Are you safe if you buy from this one? Are they doing some like roundabout way to ship the figures to you? It's just so much extra stress when it should be a 2-button process. You just click the figure, you add it to cart, maybe a third button to actually purchase it, and then you're good. That's all it should be. We're just buying things on the internet, but there's just so much more to it now. Like, it just feels that all of this going on is really forcing collectors of any kind, really, whether you're new to the hobby or you've been around for a while, to really reassess this hobby and how you're going to approach it in the near future. I cannot imagine how overwhelming it must be if you were just starting out. You were very excited to collect figures of your favorite characters and series, and now there's just this massive hurdle you have to go over. I would say most people like that are likely going to quit or just wait until all of this dies down. If it ever does, who knows? Like, you can definitely collect here in America for a little bit, whether it be the aftermarket or the in-stock items currently available at all of these retailers, but that's not going to last forever, and eventually you will want the new stuff coming out. That's going to be so much more expensive, so it just seems really rough. If there's anybody out there with upcoming figures soon to be released, you might be thinking about canceling them because you're not going to want to pay those extra tariff fees, $80, $200, depending on where it's coming from. That's just not something most people are going to want to do. And if you're somebody who currently has a package in transit, you're waiting for it, but it's stuck in customs, it's just creating this anxiety because you want it to arrive as soon as possible before the deadline so you don't get bent over and have to pay so much extra money that you weren't expecting to. I haven't really followed any of the legal battles or lawsuits regarding the tariffs. I know that's an ongoing thing, and I know some people are pretty hopeful that something will come out of it, but it's just really tiring to follow any of this after a certain point. So yeah, this sucks, and hey, if you're in America, feel free to use my comment section to vent and complain. This is the place to do it. I don't mind reading it, but yeah, I guess I might as well talk about myself and just how I'm dealing with this. I kind of have already. I'm definitely going to slow down on pre-orders. There's still some stuff I would very much like to get, but there's also some stuff I would love to cancel that I still haven't been able to because Good Smile Company just did not let you do that past May for whatever reason, which I hope they bring that back. But yeah, slowing down, not a problem by me. But what I'm more worried about is actually this channel and how I'm going to proceed with it in terms of making videos. Will I want to make videos for a hobby that I can't really indulge in anymore? I'm just not sure right now. There's definitely some stuff in the near future I would like to make that is just completely separate from this. I do have a couple of figures coming in at the end of August. Hopefully they don't get dinged with the tariffs. They might. I might get screwed. And sorry in advance if I have to clickbait that with I got fucked over by the tariffs, but if it actually happens, it actually happens, and I will talk about it. But there's some other stuff too I would like to make. Mega Hobby Expo is coming up at the end of September. I would like to make a video on that. But it just seems like as time proceeds, I'm not really going to want to keep looking at the pre-orders, for example. I'm not going to want to dangle that carrot in front of my face because I know I'm not going to buy them. The best way to not stress out about this is to just not look at the hobby, not think about the figures coming up, because it'll just bug me. Ooh, I can't buy that one. Ooh, I don't want to get that even though I like it because I'm going to have to pay $500 for it, right? It's just not a good time. But yeah, I'm still thinking about it, not exactly sure how I want to move forward, but in case I do slow down on this channel, this is why. This is the video explaining it all. I guess I should say, just as a final update to me, that I'm actually moving again at the end of the year, which I'm really not looking forward to. I just got here, and now I gotta go again. And now my rent is gonna triple, so that's another thing I have to worry about, because life's pretty expensive right now. And that's another reason why I might not be able to continue with the channel. I might have to focus my time elsewhere. Time is the most valuable currency after all. So I guess I will just say, if you enjoy my channel, if you want to see me continue making these anime figure videos, I do have a Patreon. Consider checking it out and supporting it if you can. You know, crowdfunding is pretty much the best way to support channels like my own, and I'm deciding to make a $2 tier, replacing the $3 tier, hopefully to encourage new Patreon members. You don't have to, I got other plans, but it's there if you want to do it, and it would mean a ton to me. But I guess that's it. I think I said everything that I needed to. Hopefully I didn't forget anything too important, but that should do it for now, so thank you very much for your time. I'll catch you guys very soon. I do plan to make a few more videos at the very least, and I guess just take care until then. See you later.